And this is kind of a complicated slide that was lent to me by Jimmy Herker, who's a U of I graduate, and he's head of conservation science for the Illinois Nature Conservancy. But what this shows is, and I'll point it when I go up here, what this shows is sort of the increase, in this case, in Henslow sparrows' breeding abundances, where there's a lot of CRP land, where there's a lot of land that's set aside, it's not under tillage for row crops, but is basically available as breeding habitat. And what this shows is where there's more CRP, when the landscape is in this percentage of CRP set aside, you can see that the root slope here, what this means is there's just been an increase. Maybe it's simplified by that graph up there, where you can just see this bounce back here, where you can see this increase indicates that once CRP got hold on the landscape, once there was a lot of CRP contracts in the landscape, it actually did the constituent bird populations, in this case the Henslow sparrows, a lot of good. They started to come back. Okay, so this CRP has been really, really good for wildlife. It's been really good for farmers. It's been one of these cases of a real win-win. Okay, but I said I was going to be talking about energy prices and whatnot. There's a trend now, and with CRP, owing to do with the fact that farmers' land is much, much more valuable now with the advent of biomass crops, and it may be more valuable, there may be more of an economic incentive for farmers not to put land under CRP contracts, even if it's marginal land for row crops, but to grow other things that may be available for biofuels. So this is a distinctive change in the economy for farmers, and it's a distinctive change in what the incentives might be. And there's a lot of worry that these new uses for the land, that the land is much more valuable for other uses than just putting it under a CRP contract, may lead to farmers, which, you know, I would do the same thing if I was trying to make a living. Farmers trying to make a living, they may actually forego CRP contracts. And this is from the New York Times page in April, where as prices rise, farmers spur conservation program. So there's just a competing need. Yeah.
Is anybody studying how birds nest on like switchgrass and this campus and stuff like that?
I'll get to that. Not enough people, but I'll get. Okay. That's my punchline. So you
Sorry.
saw right through it. That's okay. All right, I'm going to sit down now. So what's going on is that there's just a lot of worry and a lot of concern with the conservation community that a program that was really doing well, market forces are leading to maybe the incentives for that program to the amount of land that will be under CRP set-asides is really going to decrease. So, what's shown in red here, and this is just a projection, but this is from the Nature Conservancy. This doesn't include Illinois. This is the prairie pothole region of the United States, which is critical for waterfowl production. Okay, but there's a lot of grassland birds there too. What's shown as red is expected losses in the percent of CRP in that landscape. Okay, now this is just a scenario. I'm sure they've revised this a bunch of times since I was given this slide, because you know as the price of oil changes, the price of energy changes, this is going to change as well. Okay, but even if it's only remotely accurate, or in terms of what it's predicting, it looks like there's going to be a distinctive decrease in the amount of land that goes under CRP for economic reasons, and there'll just be incentives to keep that land in a commercial crop as opposed to just setting it aside. So that's very worrisome. Okay, now it's not as worrisome as it is in some parts of the world. Okay, and what this is from Science Daily, and I thought it was so. I didn't realize the irony of this, but there's an ad from Chevy there, and gas-friendly, to gas-free there on this page. I didn't plan that. I just sort of noticed that this morning. Oh yeah. So anyways, but what this is talking about here is biofuels and biodiversity don't mix. Now we're not looking at the type of problem that some of the old world paleotropics and the neotropics may be facing in terms of land conversion to oil palm. Okay, that is a big issue in the tropics. That will represent catastrophic biodiversity loss. Okay, that will really, the things that Bob talked about earlier in terms of what IUCN is talking about, and the tropics are a hotspot for biodiversity, We are really going to see an issue with large portions of Southeast Asia, which has lost a lot of their natural habitat anyways, is converted to oil palm or other types of needs for biofuel and ethanol production. So we're not going to see that type of change, but that type of change may be happening on a global sense. So this biofuel issue is not just a Midwest thing. I'm focusing on the Midwest, but this biofuel issue and what it's going to do to landscapes and what it's going to do to biodiversity is potentially huge, especially in places like Brazil, places like that.